Mayans never called themselves Mayans. Good morning. I need to transfer to San Ignacio today, and I was supposed to take a bus from here at 6:15 a.m. It's about 11:30 a.m. So yeah, that's that. If you want to find out more information about Placencia, check the link above. I ended up taking a boat followed by a bus which took me to Belmopan, and I had to change one more bus to get to San Ignacio. I made it! Just at sunset. Need to find the hotel. See you tomorrow morning. I'm gonna get some rest now. Good morning. It's a really nice but a pretty hot day, and I'm going to meet some special residents of San Ignacio. Let's go check them out. I'm not gonna tell you who they are, but they are special, I promise. Let's go. I am sitting in San Ignacio Hotel, and I came here to meet the iguanas, which are the residents I was talking about. So the Belizeans call them bamboo chickens because they eat them, and apparently they taste like chicken. So the numbers were dwindling, so this hotel sort of opened a private conservation project, and they are helping with rebuilding their numbers. This is a great chance to support them and also to get close to them. So you meet the teeny tiny ones to the bigger ones. So they keep the ones they're going to release into the wild separate, and you can't pet them, you can't go too close to them. But the other ones are just so good, especially Gomez. He's like the big orange male, and he's amazing. So I would definitely recommend coming here. It's 22 Belizean dollars at the moment. You can check on their website. And I would recommend coming during the day when the heat is high. They're a bit more active at that time. San Ignacio is the second largest city in the country, and it is a good base if you want to explore the Mayan ruins and a lot of the forest around Belize. It is also very close to the border with Guatemala, so if you're heading there next, it's also very, very convenient. There's not much to do in the city itself. The houses are quite nice and colorful, so walking around is quite fun. There is a market, and I think that's pretty much it. Hola, hola. I am heading to Caracol today, which are the largest Mayan ruins in Belize. And believe it or not, but the tallest building in Belize is actually the pyramid in Caracol. So I had to go see it. Waiting for my guide now. It's like 7 a.m. And then we get on the way once they are here. So yeah. Oh, they're here. Let's go. What started as a fairly cloudy, dark day ended up being really beautiful and sunny. I just got to Caracol. It took about 2.5 hours, and it started as a really nice road which turned into a dirt road, turned into an old road, turned into another dirt road, and finally we are here. Going to start the tour now. So one piece of advice, do not do it on your own if you're planning to, especially if it has rained or it has been raining for the past few days, or it's going to rain. So not a good idea. Let's go start the tour now. Caracol is the largest Mayan site in Belize, and it is actually quite big. So you can walk around and you can spend the entire day there, and still there would be a few buildings and pyramids left over. While you could do this tour on your own, I would recommend coming with a tour guide, because otherwise it's just a pile of stones and, you know, carved into nice shapes, but you don't actually know the details of what happened here. So I came with Maya Walk Tours, and the guide was like really thorough. We started from the main, they have some stela and altars, and he kind of explained the history and what it meant, and then we kind of walked through. He's quite knowledgeable about the local flora and fauna as well. And we are finally here in the main plaza. So I got to learn quite a few interesting things. One, that the Mayans actually had a much more advanced and accurate calendar than we actually use today. I learned a little bit about it in Guatemala, but I learned the full details here, which is really fascinating. And also the fact that they always use the sun and the moon calendar, sort of, so you kind of find the details. And the number 13 was really important for them. And a lot of other things, you know, from sacrifices to what actually, you know, led to their demise and how they lived, and these small things, you know, like they didn't know how to use a wheel, there was no metals here, it was mostly limestone and wood, but they still use, you know, other things that were at their disposal. How the elites were, and how they were like cross-eyed on purpose. They used a lot of jade between their teeth. I mean, fascinating things that I actually didn't learn throughout the time in Guatemala. It's really fascinating. I'm gonna go climb the pyramid now, and I'll show you a bit more of this site. So I'm gonna go. And don't forget to bring some good shoes if you want to go up the pyramids. The stairs can be fairly steep and slippery. The guide was really good, and I got a lot of great information, and we ended the tour at the astronomical area, and then we headed to get some yummy lunch which they brought along. Stop number 2 for the day. We are going to the Rio Frio cave, and it's really beautiful. That's what I've been told. Let's go check out. The cave was a quick stop, and it was fascinating to see. It's actually open on both sides, and there's a river that flows through it. Last stop at the pools. I wish every day trip would end like this. Let's go check it out. It was almost the sunset time and people were leaving, which was great because I got the place entirely to myself almost. After a hot day of walking around, it was just so great to be in this nice cold fresh water overlooking this beautiful valley. Just as the sun was going down, we headed back to San Ignacio after an amazing day in Caracol and around. Hola! It's a rainy, cloudy morning today, which is perfect to go spend time in a cave. So I'm going to ATM Cave, which is considered one of the most amazing attractions in Belize. So let's check that out. So a little advanced warning. I can't take any cameras inside at all, like not even like waterproof ones, because there were a couple of idiots who smashed their cameras and damaged the cave and apparently some skulls. So I won't be able to show you inside, but I can tell you what you need and how it was and whether it actually is the most amazing attraction in Belize. So let's go check it out. Once we got to the entrance, it took 30 minutes to a really beautiful forest to get to the entrance of the cave. Make sure to bring some good shoes with good grip, and make sure you also wear some socks. You will need that later. And also bring a change of shirt. You cannot go shirtless inside because it's a holy place for the Mayans. There is no swimming required except for the entrance of the cave, which is actually a very short stretch. It is really fun and a lot of adrenaline rush comes through, but you have to make sure you're not claustrophobic because there are only a couple of points where it is a little tricky to get through, but generally it's quite nice and wide and open. After an hour and a half, we finally got to the point where you could see the Mayan ruins. On the way, it's a crazy maze with a lot of beautiful structures, and these have been carved by nature over millennia, hundreds of thousands of years, and they are magnificent. This is the place where the Mayans have been coming and performing their sacrificial rituals for thousands of years. It is the most irrefutable proof of the human sacrifice performed by Mayans. There are a lot of pots full of tribute to the gods, and they're scattered all around the place. You cannot wear your shoes here, and this is where the socks come in really handy. At the very end, we got to see the most intact skeleton or the Mayan remains, but it was a little bit savage because this belonged to a prisoner of war. Their hands were tied behind their back and their spine was broken. It was a really fun 4 or 5 hours that I spent there. And if you don't fancy this cave, there are a lot of them in Belize and you're never far from a cave adventure. You can even do river tubing there. So I just finished. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I didn't think it was the best thing to do in Belize. Time to say goodbye to ATM Cave. I'll meet you tomorrow in Shenantonage. Getting to Shenantonage is actually quite easy. You can take the public transport, or you can take a shared taxi, or you can just get your own taxi. It's pretty close to San Ignacio. My last day in San Ignacio, and I came to explore Shenantonage. I'm standing in front of El Castillo, which is the largest structure in Shenantonage. And before I climb it, I want to tell you a little bit about the place. So the name Shenantonage comes from White Lady of the Rock or Lady of the Rock, because there used to be a lady that would appear in white with glowing red eyes, and she would just disappear into the rock. Yeah, interesting. I forgot to tell you about this in Caracol. None of the names that we have today are the Mayan names. I don't know if there are any, but these are all modern names, and the old names of the actual names of the cities are not known. So, I mean, interesting how the name came about, but that's the history. So this is from the late to terminal classic period city, which means around 600, 700 AD, and that's when it was ending. So even though the rest of the cities like Caracol and Tikal were abandoned for almost a century, Shenantonage actually thrived, and it was really good. And I think at its height there were about 180,000 people in the entire valley. So this is a small part of it, as usual. Not all of it has been excavated, but this has an interesting place, which is to a recent excavation where you can see how things were inside. One other interesting fact is that all of the buildings that you see are from the last layer. So every 52 years, a cycle would end and the Mayans would bury the building or the pyramid, and then they would build another one on top of it. So there are many layers underneath these giant structures, sometimes 10 to 20 feet deep, and that's amazing. I really like that. It's it's sort of the last structure that you see, kind of like the light you see in the sky is not there now, maybe because it traveled like for millions and billions of years ago. So I'm gonna go start climbing this, and yeah, I'll tell you more as we go along. So this behind me is the perfect reason for not skipping Xanantanich. This beautiful hieroglyph right on top of El Castillo, which is the largest structure as I told you. So it gives you a really good idea what the buildings used to look like. And you know, it's really nice because you imagine this entire pyramid covered in these and then painted red. Yes, they used to use red because it mimics the color of blood. Also, these are not original, so these are fiberglass because they want to protect the original since they're made with limestone, so with time they deteriorate. But it's really amazing. I'm in awe of it. So you can see it when you climb up on one side and then on the other side as well. Alright guys, this is all from Xanantanich. I am heading back to San Ignacio. It stopped raining and I made my way to Cajalpech, which is about 25 minutes walk, and it's a little bit uphill from the city center. But it's quite nice, so let's go explore it. Cajalpech is a much smaller site compared to the rest of them, and it's quite easy to just explore. Like an hour, I believe, is plenty if you're not like digging deep. So the place name means the place of ticks, and that is from Yucatan. An interesting fact that the Mayans never called themselves Mayans. It actually meant "Oh Maya" means I don't know. So when the Spanish came and they spoke to the people, they said "Oh Maya," and that's how they got their name. So it has stuck there. I think the locals call them something else. I don't remember right now, or maybe they don't have a word for it, but yeah, the word Mayan has stuck around since then. So let's go explore another Mayan place. Compared to other sites like Xanantanich or Caracol, this is very different because it has a little, you know, nice cozy vibe, because you can go through these little corridors and there's these rooms, and it gives you like a sense of idea of what it was like going through a house in Mayan times, like obviously a royal house, but a house nonetheless. So it feels a lot more intimate and nice, and I'm quite enjoying that. So did you like seeing San Ignacio and all the Mayan ruins with me? Next time I am taking you to Ambergris Caye, obviously the famous San Pedro. Click on the link above to meet me there. This is Brown Boy Travels. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, please do like, subscribe and share. And do let me know in comments if you have any questions. You can also reach me on Instagram. I will see you in another beautiful destination in another video. Until then, you have a wonderful day ahead. Bye!